Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Josh and Alex.
And welcome back to Cinema Task. This is volume 13. And just for a refresher, last time I assigned Blake Blindspotting, little known movie there. Blake assigned Josh The Thing, and Josh gave me Office Space. So those were the last ones that were tasked. Who would like to go first?
Here's the thing.
Alex?
Josh.
Oh, me? Here's the thing. All right. So this was, haven't seen the thing, one of the OG cinema sins that created the idea for creating these videos in the first place. Just never saw it. Always heard people talk about it. It's never just even came on the tele when my parents would watch movies. Just some reason it never came up. It stars Kurt Russell and has Keith David in it. Has a few other people that I recognize, but would never know their names at all. But basically, it is a kind of old 80s horror film, and it starts off with some Swedes trying to kill a dog. And I was very confused for a long time why they're trying to kill that dog, because I just felt like it was just going to be some like rich dude that was going to push the boundaries, and this is like one of those kind of horror films. But obviously, it ends up that dog's an evil thing, some alien beast. Overall, this film, I think the shrinks that I really liked, and it definitely kind of starts off with this early on, is that the characters actually use their brain for the most time in this film. It actually feels like they want to survive. They aren't really doing, for the most part, stupid things, which is kind of surprising for an older 80s horror film. Typically, a lot of those were just slashers back in the day. This really wasn't a slasher at all. And looks-wise, it still was kind of decent. You know, it definitely aged. Can't blame them on that, but it wasn't bad enough that I couldn't still just enjoy it. But sometimes there's a bit humorous bits, like the blood was so fake in many scenes. But yeah, I mean, you're really just following this. It feels like the earliest version of Imposters Among Us, and they're just finding each other, and it has kind of just survival in the Arctic, and it kind of slowly goes on until one by one people keep dying until the very end. They finally kind of have a 1v1 with the thing, which this was the only part of the film I kind of didn't care too much for, was the ending. That's the only time everybody was just a complete dumbass. I don't know why everyone separated at the end. It kind of felt like they're like, hey, we want to kill everybody off, but we made these characters too good at surviving. So they all last second, one by one, went straight into the thing and died until, of course, Kurt Russell's character, which I'm already forgetting his name, just going to call him Kurt Russell, basically blew the base up to hell. They all burned and froze to death eventually there at the end. Hey, it was chill. It was fun. I know there's a 2011 remake. I might give that a shot just because I enjoyed this one. It looks visually good and apparently has good reviews. So because of that, I'll probably give it a shot. But overall, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I think I would recommend this to people even now, even like I said, it is an older film, but the pacing's really good. Didn't feel like a full slasher-esque like the normal old movies, and I had a fun time with it.
Cool. So what you're saying is, theoretically speaking, if they were to just remaster this version of the movie and update like the CGI, it could be a even better movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was giving last times with these older films, if I'm actually liking it, I'll definitely be way lenient more on the grading. Like there's still 80s style acting at moments where it's like these people are just not good actors. There are moments like that, okay? But Kurt Russell and also Keith David being in that definitely helps that there was a strong two actors there. But yeah, I mean, if they remastered it, it'd be great. But I think that's kind of the point of the 2011 one. We'll see. I'll watch it.
I mean, hey, it's an old movie. The fact that it's a 7.5 for an older movie like that is saying something.
Yeah.
True. What was that, like 85 or something?
No, 82 is when it came out.
Oh, wow. So it's
I was going to say, I thought
80s.
when you said 80s for a second, I was like, I thought it was 79 for some reason.
No, it is an older film. And, you know, It does still, it looks good for an 80s film. 100%. I get why there's hype.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll go next. So I didn't know what to think when Josh gave me Office Space. I didn't know anything about the movie. I think you guys both had seen this movie. And with the week that I just had, it just kind of emphasized, or maybe even like boosted the movie for me just that much more. Because holy shit, this week was hell for me. But we're gonna talk about the movie here. So, gentlemen, this so far could be a contender for highest comedy, highest rated comedy for me. It's like my type of comedy. It has like that.
Are you
dark
saying like
humor
ever, or are you saying just like in assigned movies?
in assigned movies? As
Okay.
I think I've gotten like 3 or 4, and then I think this one is the highest. It starts with a guy in traffic, and right off the bat, I am like, oh, this is relatable as fuck, because I've done that before, where he's in a line that's not moving. He sees an old man just walking by faster than the line's going, and then he sees the other line, and that line's like moving. So what would I naturally do in this situation? Same thing he did. Try to get into the other lane. What happens immediately once he gets into the other lane? It stops, and the lane he was in starts to move. I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm locked in. And then slowly but surely, we get introduced to most of the cast, most of the main characters, as they're trying to get to work at this place. I forgot the name of the company. Initech? Something tech. And so basically, we get introduced to Peter. He is the main character. And then the 2 friends that he has made there are Samir and Michael Bolton. I guess there's a singer or whatever that also has the same name that he hates, but he's fucking bumping some like 90s fucking hip hop. I was like, okay, this is cool. And but then like when when the one guy that's begging for money starts to approach him, he like lowers the volume and he locks the fucking door. He's such a pussy. But I thought it was funny. It just gives everyone character, and that's like probably like the best thing about, you know, like the right off the bat, these characters, they're all unique. They all just breathe fresh air into this movie right off the bat. And of course, you place them in a very relatable situation, like inside of an office, which us 3 we all know way too well. And okay, so we get introduced to Peter. Peter hates his job. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I can relate. And he's going through some issues. He thinks his wife is cheating on him. I think it's his wife or girlfriend, one of the 2. But point is, they're going to this like hypnotherapy guy, and he pretty much tells him, "Hey, listen, is there a way to make me just not know what's going on at work? That I'm at work while I'm actually at work?" He's like, "No, I can't really do that, but I can make it feel better." So he starts to do that, and before he like fully puts him in that trance or whatever, he slowly starts to kind of choke, and I think he's having like a heart attack. And he says one, and he never like snaps his fingers back to like stop him from being in that trance. So the entire movie, he just lives out the rest of his life in that carefree mode where he just does not care. So after he's put in that trance, he just doesn't even show up to work. He had to go into work for a Saturday, which he was trying to avoid the boss. But yeah, that boss, I don't know the actor. I've seen him around because he was in Talladega Nights as the dad for Ricky Bobby, right? I want to say that's where I remember him from. But he did a good job playing that like kind of dickhead boss. And he ended up having to go in Saturday. Turns out he's in that trance, so he does not care anymore. Completely doesn't go to work. Even once it becomes Monday, he doesn't show up. And then I think he shows up either Tuesday or later, very late into Monday. And they're like downsizing. So he gets to do the downsizing meeting with the 2 Bobs. Also, there's one actor there from the Belko Experiment that I recognize, as well as a bunch of other stuff. And you would think just because he's just telling them exactly what he does at work, spacing out, he does like 15 minutes of work in the span of like a week. And they're just like taking it all in, and they're like, we want to give you a promotion. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But in the process, though, he learns that his two boys, Samir and Michael, are being let go. So what does he do? He tells them, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, it seems that you guys are gonna get laid off, and they're gonna give me a promotion." And then they're like, "How is that fair? You're literally not even showing up to work, and you're getting promoted." It's like, yeah, I just don't think it's fair for you guys, though. So they hatch a plan to, I think it was break or hack the code or whatever. Basically, they're just gonna get like half a penny of like the stock or whatever. I don't really, it's not really that important. Basically, they're gonna rip off the company is what's going on, but it's gonna be so minuscule that they theoretically shouldn't notice that this money is being stolen from them. Unfortunately, Michael doesn't write the code correctly, and like 300,000 comes out of it. And he's like, "Oh shit! I think I might have put like the decimal spot in the wrong spot." And yeah, so then they have to think of a plan of how are they going to get away with it. They couldn't think of one. It ends with him having to basically return it, and basically say, "Hey, listen, we stole this. I'm probably going to go into jail. It is what it is." But during this entire time, during this entire movie, occasionally we would cut back to this one character named Milton. He's like not saying much. You can't hear him over anybody. He's just being pushed around. He's telling, like, the boss is telling him to move his office spot across the entire office. At one point, he's in the basement of the office. He's telling him to fucking clean up like the roach infestation that they're having. And it's just like every time after that conversation ends, he's like, "One day I'm gonna burn down this building or whatever." Turns out he walks in, and that exact office, that spot where Peter put the confession note along with the check for that 300,000. I think it's 300,000. It's not more than that. He finds that. Cut to Peter going to work the next day, thinking that he's about to just go to jail, and he shows up and the building's on fire. And I thought that was hilarious because I'm like, many days I do want to do that to my own office building. Will I ever do it? Probably not. But hey, listen, I've thought about it. I have thought about it. So good on Milton. He's living the crazy life somewhere in Mexico, I think. And yeah, that's how it pretty much ends. Peter ends up having to work construction, and he's loving his job. And Samir and Michael took another job somewhere else. And that's how the movie ends. But yeah. Oh, and then there's another subplot of him going up to Jennifer Aniston's character as well. The first time we see her, he's still before the trance, so he doesn't want to go up and just ask her while she's working out where she's at work. And then finally, after the trance, he just goes up and successfully gets her. And yeah, so but they end up together, and that's the end of the movie. So. This was a fun movie. It was short. I think it's like an hour and a half long. I enjoyed this movie. Score is an 8.8 out of 10.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was fun. It was relatable as hell. Definitely gonna probably rewatch it again at some point.
Yeah, I just always love the printer scene. I can't get over that scene for me as an IT guy. Just still relevant all this time later.
Yeah.
Fuck that goddamn printer.
Why are printers so bad?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So.
Yeah, you would think that would over time that technology has improved, and same old shit. Still, I think it's 99, so it's 26, 27 years later. Same problems. Yeah.
They're trying their best. So for my movie, I got Blindspotting. This movie was also pretty short. I feel like it was like an hour and a half as well. This one stars Thomas Jefferson, aka David. Sorry. For all you Hamilton fans out there, you guys remember that he played Thomas Jefferson?
Huh?
Yeah.
We know what movie Alex is getting a little bit. Anyways, so. This movie starts Miles. Nope, Colin and Miles are the two characters, but Colin is the main character. He has just learned at the very beginning, it is him learning that he is about to be on parole for a year. And then we pretty much just skip all the way to he has 3 days left on his parole. Um, part of his parole is like he has to work a job that he can't leave like the county. It's based in Oakland. He can't leave the county, and he also has to live at like what they kind of call like a halfway house, which is where like people on parole and stuff can live and stay there. It's like a big group apartment. They have like chores that they have to do, and they have to have a certain time. They have to be back, basically, like kind of like a I don't know, essentially like it's just a place where a bunch of like felons and stuff can go, and you have to be back at a certain time, do a bunch of things to help out, and they kind of get like watched over, but it's not like jail. Anyways, so he works with his best friend Miles, and Colin is an African American man. Miles is not. They are in Oakland, and they work for a moving company. And Miles is, you know, he wears a grill. He has an accent of a Oakland man. And he is a ginger man, so he is very Caucasian. Very Caucasian. But he grew up in Oakland, so, you know, he speaks a certain way. He does stuff a certain way. And Colin always has his dreadlocks, and that's a big thing, and we don't know why he was in jail and why he only has 3 days left of parole. Anyways, he's working with the moving company on his way home one night, trying to get back before like a curfew, because he has to be back at this halfway house by a curfew, otherwise he gets in trouble. Only 3 days left, he doesn't want to get in trouble. He's going back home, and he's in the moving truck, and all of a sudden a guy runs in front of him in the street, and then he hears sirens and cops come up, and then all of a sudden the guy gets shot and killed by the cops. The guy had like nothing in his hands. It was an African-American guy. He had like nothing in his hands. He was just kind of like running, and all of a sudden he just watches the cops shoot and kill this guy, and then the cops just like look at him, and they're like, yo, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? So he just drives the truck away. He gets back. It's after curfew. He's like, I don't know what the hell just happened. He kind of like goes to bed and kind of has like basically like a nightmare, just seeing this guy's like face in his mind. Wakes up, goes the next day. He's talking to like his buddy, and he's like, yeah, I saw the cops kill a guy. And then that's essentially the end of that part of the plot, though, which is where it gets like, what was the reason for this? And they're like, oh, why don't you like tell them like what happened? And he's like, oh, I can't. I'm a felon. Like, I only have 3 days left. They're going to lock me up. So he like just has nightmares like the next 2 nights, essentially, about seeing it happen. But that's essentially it. He doesn't do anything about it. It's kind of just like, okay, I thought this was supposed to be like a deeper plot of that. That's it. Essentially, the rest of the movie is him and his buddy just working their job, going to do moving company stuff. You find out that his like ex-girlfriend is the one who helped get them the jobs, and is like she works at the moving company and like tells them all where they have to go. And then eventually we learn the story of the reason that he went to jail is that he was a bouncer at a club, and some hipster guy got like a drink that had fire on top, and he like took it outside, and he was a bouncer at the club. He's like, hey, you can't take alcohol and drinks outside, like we could get in trouble. And the guy was like, nah, man, it's fine, whatever. He then says something to Colin, which then sets Miles off. And so Miles starts to beat the guy up. And then Colin jumps in to try to break the fight up, but the guy then hits him. So then he starts beating the guy up. So these two are beating up this hipster guy. And the guy dropped his fire drink, and at one point it caught him on fire. So the cops show up and took Colin to jail because he was the black guy there. So they took him, not Miles, the white guy. They just kind of were like, yo, get out of here. So he served a year in jail because his friend got kind of them in a bad situation. And so the girlfriend, or his ex-girlfriend, is like, yo, fuck Miles, he sucks. But Colin's like, hey, he, like, when I was in prison, he came out and visited me all the time. Like, he put money on my books. Like, he's my best friend. I can't just, like, leave him. So they go to a party. Again, Colin gets set off, gets into a fight with a guy. He ends up pulling out a gun and shooting it in the air. So then they have to run away. He's like, what are you doing? I only have 1 day left on probation. Like, if the cops would have found this, like, we would have been fucked. And then they get into a big fight. And they just get into a big fight about, and he's like, oh, I'm the black guy. Like, if the cops showed up, they would have taken me to jail. I'm the felon. You would have got away with everything. Kind of like you got away with, you started the fight. I went to jail for you. So they have this big blowout. And then, like, the next morning, they're kind of just like, oh, everything's good. Like, it is what it is. Like, hey, we got a job to do. They go to a job moving a company, and they find out it's the cop who he saw kill the guy. They're moving all of his stuff out. So then Colin grabs a gun, points it at the gun that Miles had, points the gun at him. And then there's like a 5-minute long Colin rapping to this cop about like police brutality and stuff while he's pointing a gun at him. And then that's pretty much the end of the movie. He eventually, Miles like grabs the gun and tells him to put it down. They get back in the moving truck. They kind of like hug it out. They say fuck Derek Carr because the Raiders are leaving Oakland. And then the movie ends. That's pretty much it.
That line alone.
Yeah. They just shit on Derek Carr at the end. And then the movie pretty much ends. So, yeah. Yeah, it was a movie where they clearly wanted to cover deeper topics, but just because you talk about a deeper topic doesn't mean you're doing anything about that topic. Like I said, you saw the cops shoot this guy, and then pretty much that didn't really play a factor. He had like a nightmare about it. That was it. It wasn't like eating him away the rest of his day. Like everything was fine. He has this little rapping moment to the cop, holding a gun to him, and that's about it. So, yeah, it was just one of those movies. Once again, just because you talk about a deep topic does not mean your conversation is deep. It does not mean you are covering anything. You're not doing anything by doing that. You're just yapping. That's it. So, I really cannot say too much about this movie. It was very just like whatever. At times, Miles and Colin's like friendly relationship was fun, but that's about it. There's nothing really that stands out to me. It's not like I can say like, oh, the acting was phenomenal. It is what it was. Like that's about it. Pretty mid. So the score reflects that. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It was just right down the middle of this was a movie. That's about it. Nothing special going on here.
Darn. I just read the synopsis. Thought it'd be a cool concept if they actually talked about it, but
nope. They pretty much didn't. He saw it and was like, "Oh, I saw the cops kill a guy." And I'm like, "What? That's crazy." He's like, "Yep." All right, time to go to work.
Yikes. Well,
it's like, all right, man. Cool.
That's unfortunate.
So, yeah. That's what that movie was all about. So, I guess I'll start off giving a movie. Alex, I have you. I was trying to decide between two. I think this one is the bigger swing. But, hey. Sometimes you got to take a bigger swing. So we'll see how it goes.
Is it Moneyball?
Alex, I'm going to give you Begonia. The Emma Stone movie that I believe is now on streaming, or relatively recently I saw that was on streaming. So I'm going to give you Begonia.
Okay. Begonia it is. Begonia. Okay.
Blake, I'll step in here. I got to assign you a movie. I got multiple. I got 4 options I can give you right now.
Well, that's not 4. How this works.
There's one that's obvious. I know, bare minimum. It's at least bare minimum. It's 6.5 plus. Not doing that one. It's too easy. It's too easy. I got 2 movies I haven't seen. One I've seen maybe with my parents when I was a child. Might do that one. I have one that it's really highly rated. Haven't seen it, but it's on streaming. But you typically dislike those when it's a highly rated and it's on streaming. And then I have one that's a foreign film, but you hate foreigners, so I can't give you that one.
That's well. Let's wait a minute here.
We are going.
Just give us multiple choice.
That's not accurate.
Guy doesn't like subtitles. Okay, I am going to assign you. Have you seen Inside Man? Stars Denzel Washington.
I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I vaguely know what we're talking about.
If you haven't seen it, that's yours then.
Well, we'll say I haven't seen it. I don't really remember that well, so we'll say I haven't.
Who's in this movie? Clive Owen's in this? Willem Dafoe?
Hell yeah, Willem Dafoe.
It's got a good cast.
It does have a good cast. The fuck? I haven't seen.
I've seen this movie, but I was maybe like 8 years old when I've seen it. So
see, that's what I'm trying to think of if it was that situation for me too. So we'll say that I haven't seen it.
Jodie Foster. Cool. Okay. Josh, I got you.
Yep. So
I got you.
I'm hoping you have not seen this because this is my number one option. Josh, have you seen Manchester by the Sea?
I have not. No.
Perfect. Okay. You get Manchester by the Sea. Believe it stars Ben Affleck's little brother.
Yeah,
Casey Affleck. How about you put a little respect on his fucking name?
I forgot his name for a second, but yeah.
How about you?
Casey Affleck.
You talk about Oscar winner as not some guy's little brother. You ever thought about that?
Yeah. You're right. My fault, Case.
Well, that's going to do it for this video. As always, let us know in the comments down below if you saw either of the movies that we talked about there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.